Alright, hello everyone and welcome to WWE Discussion. I'm your host and WWE enthusiast Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Monday Night Raw, September 4th, 2023 edition. And after a successful payback, this edition of Raw would feature a great Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Chad Gable, as well as the arrival of Jey Uso. Gunther would defeat Chad Gable, who was his most competitive challenger to date, and by winning over Chad Gable, he solidifies his legacy and guaranteeing that he will break the record to become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Cody Rhodes facilitated the trade of Jey Uso to the Red Brand, and Jey made an immediate impression. He and Sami Zayn reunited while the Judgment Day began trying to recruit him. Zoe Starks and Shayna Baszler would fight for the second time, but after the Queen of Spades won, Baszler after the match would show respect to Starks over their shared toughness. The feud of New Day versus Viking Raiders versus McIntyre and Riddle continues to form the foundation of the Raw Tag Team division, with the Viking Raiders picking up another big win, this time over the Scottish Warrior and the Original Pro. The show was high energy, relying upon some major stories to continue to grow on the Red Brand, and with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with Jey Uso. And I think it's safe to say that he is better off on Raw than he was on SmackDown. So Jey has become a star. He opened Raw to a huge ovation and reconnected with Sami Zayn to continue what was probably the best dynamic from the Bloodline story. Jey and Zayn together, still magic. Both are now feuding with the Judgment Day in their own way, which will put them in the most important spotlight on Raw. Jey's story is new again on the Red Brand, and this is happening while the Bloodline is struggling for relevancy on SmackDown. Roman Reigns is still absent. Solo is doing the best he can to be a headlining act on his own, and Jimmy still trying to find his footing as a solo act. The Blue Brand has been heavily reliant upon the Bloodline, and for good reason, considering how much the TV ratings rise with them. But the Red Brand doesn't have to necessarily worry about that, and as it won't be featuring the Tribal Chief, so Jey's jump to Raw could be bigger than anything the Bloodline does for the rest of 2023. Something big could come of Jey's move, as Adam Pearce reported that somebody is going to be traded to SmackDown as trade compensation, but Raw currently is the hotter brand at the moment. And then the New Day and Viking Raiders. So with the return of the New Day and the push the Viking Raiders have been getting the past couple weeks, it has improved the tag team division. And it's a division that's been struggling in 2023 despite some consistently strong champions at the top. The problem hasn't been with the champions, it's been with the lack of depth in spite of the talent across Raw and SmackDown. And the New Day's absence has been a major blow to the division. Luckily, Kingston is back from injury, so he and Woods are back in competition. The first story for them has been a steadily building feud with McIntyre and Riddle, as well as the Viking Raiders. And while the Scottish Warrior and Original Pro are still learning to work together, Eric and Ivar have capitalized and picked up a string of wins. The value of all three teams has risen because of this rivalry, and that makes the entire Raw Tag Team division matter more as well. And hopefully this will only continue, until all three are legitimate challengers for the Judgment Day. We got new Tag Team champions. We need new challengers for the titles, and any one of these three teams, New Day, Raiders, McIntyre, and Riddle, any one of them could be challengers. Right now, the Viking Raiders look like the front runner, but in all honesty, if the Viking Raiders are challenging for the tag team titles, I want them to win it. So, Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. Is this a new tag team in the women's division? Are they set to work together? Certainly a question mark here. Baszler and Stark have relied upon legends in the past to raise their own stake. Stark with Trish Stratus, although that team broke up on last Saturday at Payback, and then also Baszler and Rousey, who might not be a legend from WWE perspective, but certainly a legend outside of WWE. But Shayna ended that friendship at SummerSlam. The match that Starks and Baszler had on Raw sets them both up to work together and hopefully become positive influences on each other. or for each other. Stark and Baszler have a similar mean streak, and that could make them a formidable team. Both women could also be entitled singles title contention soon, but the championship scene isn't exactly the clearest at the moment for them. Raquel Rodriguez is still eyeing that title, so she might get her rematch, or she is getting her rematch. The best way to keep them both relevant, for better or for worse, is to pair them up. They can work together to build a winning streak. If they choose to go after the women's tag team championships, that would put the current champions in trouble. Even if they focus on capturing just the women's world championship, they can work together to build themselves up as legitimate opposition for Rhea Ripley. And then lastly, Gunther. He is going to break the record for longest reigning Intercontinental Championship reign, and I think it's safe to say that he is currently WWE's best champion. So while most expected him to do well going to the main roster, I think few expected him to dominate like he has since he debuted in April 2022. His reign has been even more impressive than the run he had in NXT UK. Gunther's current reign has made him WWE's best champion, even more so than Roman Reigns in his record-setting run. And while the Tribal Chief has been champion longer, Gunther has defended his title more, 63 times compared to Roman Reigns' 51 title defenses. And in his 450-plus day reign as champion, the Ring General has put on some of the best matches in WWE. His battles have been showstoppers, and no matter when he loses that belt, after breaking the record, he will redefine the legacy of that title. And while WWE has a talented roster, it's hard to believe that whoever's next as IC title will be able to top what he has done. Not to say that it would be a bad reign. Hopefully it won't be a bad reign, but it's going to be tough to replicate what WWE has with Gunther. So in conclusion, this week's Raw was kind of all over the place, but there were some new storylines to follow and a couple of solid matches. Gunther versus Gable, fittingly the main event, but the match between Stark and Baszler could lead to something interesting based on how it ended. Chelsea Green continues to be one of the best parts of Raw every week. Jey Uso is already a marked man. Shinsuke Nakamura is still pursuing the world title, and The Miz looks like he wants another showdown with Cena. Whether that actually happens, who knows? With the Judgment Day now ruling over Raw with almost all of the gold, it feels like it's just a matter of time before Priest will try to cash in that new Money in the Bank briefcase and get and add the World Heavyweight Championship to the Judgment Day's collection. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode of WWE Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.